this evening's Wednesday webinar. So welcome everybody. My name is Jessa. I am from ICANN. We are going to go ahead and discuss the Iowa Financial Aid application today. And we have someone with us from the Bureau of Iowa College Aid. Her name is Tracy Davis, and she is the Student Financial Aid Programs Specialist. So I am going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to her. But again, like I said, feel free to go ahead and say hi or pop anything into the chat box that you would like to while we go ahead and start our main topic today. Tracy, why don't you go ahead and take over?
Thank you, Jessa. So since she already introduced me, I'm just going to jump right in and give you a brief overview of what our agenda for this evening is going to be. I'm going to start out by talking about the two applications that we use at Iowa College Aid to determine eligibility for our scholarship and grant programs. Then we're going to go into each of those scholarship and grant programs just briefly to give you an idea of what ones you may or may not meet the eligibility criteria for. I am going to do a live demonstration of the Iowa financial aid application. And then after that, there will be a slide with all of our contact information in case you are more comfortable reaching out via email or phone number tomorrow or something instead of asking your question here on the webinar. So let's jump right in. So we do use two different applications to determine eligibility for our programs. One is the free application for federal student aid, probably better known to all of you as the FAFSA. It is a federal form, and all of the programs that we administer require that you fill out this form. Some of them, that is the only form that you need to fill out, and some of them we do have an additional state form that must be filled out, and it's called the Iowa Financial Aid application. This application has some skip logic embedded into it so that as you're answering questions, we're kind of determining which of our programs you need to answer some more questions on and may need to be presented the application for. As I said on the agenda slide, I will be doing a live demonstration a little bit later of that application, so all of that will kind of make more sense at that time. So the first program we're going to talk about is the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship. I believe most of the people online, this was for high school seniors and senior parents. And this is a program that is the eligibility for high school seniors. So you need to be thinking about this one right now. It's for first time college freshmen and for students who've graduated in the last 2 years from an Iowa high school. You need to remain continuously enrolled in college once you receive the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship to keep getting it. If you stop attending for a semester and you don't get that award that semester, then your eligibility goes away. As you can tell, those first three bullets that we just hit on have a little asterisk there, and former foster care students are exempt from those requirements. So just a little note there on that. The priority for this program is priority awarding first goes to students who have aged out of foster care, children of deceased public safety workers, students who have participated in a TRIO program while they were in high school, someone who has graduated from an alternative high school, or also another priority group to participate, someone who participated in Gear Up. On each of these slides with the different programs, you're going to see a eligibility requirement of the SAI, which stands for Student Aid Index, and that is a number that you are assigned when you file your FAFSA. So if you know that number, great. If you don't, you can log back into your FAFSA and figure out what your number is. But for the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship, your SAI needs to be below 10,669. The maximum award per year for this scholarship is $5,334. That changes because it is based on the Regent tuition rate. So that typically goes up a little bit each year. You have to be attending an Iowa community college, a private college, or one of the Regent universities, so Iowa State, University of Iowa, or UNI. Each of our programs is different, and some can be paid at all of the colleges that are eligible in Iowa, and some just have a specific sector. But this one's community college, private, and Regent. This one also does require both applications to be filed, both the FAFSA and the IFA, and we accept applications all the way up until April 1st. So for the next year, you're enrolling in the fall of 2025. You would need to have this filled out by April 1st, 2025. So you still got some time to get out there and get that done. You can have this for up to 8 full-time semesters. So there's a pretty long period of time that can get you all the way through your bachelor's degree for this one. The education and training voucher is for a very specific population of students. It's for students who have exited foster care within 30 days of their 18th birthday or who were adopted from foster care after turning 16. There is no student aid index requirement on this one, and the maximum award for it per year is $5,000. It can also, this one's unique in that it can pay at any school. The education and training voucher is a federally funded program, and because of that, it doesn't just pay at an Iowa school. So we can pay out of state schools with this one. Need to file both the FAFSA and the Iowa financial aid application by December 1st. But that's for next year, that's December 1st, 2025. So you've not missed that deadline. So don't think that you have for next year. Obviously, if you're attending in the fall, you're going to want to have that done before that time so that you can get this award in place. But you do have all the way up until then. It's mainly more for if someone wants to just begin their education next spring, then they still have time to apply for that. And for this one, you can receive it for 5 years or until you turn the age of 26. Future Ready Iowa Grant is probably not one that college seniors are going to be receiving, but it is something that we administer. So I did want to briefly touch base on it. And the reason they're not receiving it is you have to be 25 or older to get this one. A few of our programs coming up here, though, will be talking about the requirement to be in a high demand program of study. If that is a requirement, you can always find the list of eligible programs on our website on each of the grant or scholarships corresponding web page. You could also always reach out to your college's financial aid office. They should know also what their eligible programs are at the institution that you are thinking of attending. You'd have to be enrolled at least half time, which is 6 credit hours, and this one also has a continuously enrolled requirement. This one can be paid at private colleges in Iowa or the Regent universities. The maximum award for this current year is $3,000. We've not set it yet for next year. Likely it'll be in the same area. So if they're not set yet, I just put this year's there, knowing that they don't generally fluctuate a large amount. You also have to file both the FAFSA and the Iowa financial aid application, and you can receive this one for up to 4 full-time semesters. The Future Ready Iowa Last Dollar Scholarship is for students who recently completed an Iowa high school diploma or a homeschool program, or students who are 20 and older. It's kind of a weird way that they've done this one, but if you're under 20, you have to have graduated from an Iowa high school. If you're 20 or over, then that is no longer a requirement. So that's why it's kind of listed that way. This one is one that has high demand programs of study, so you could find those lists on our website by each of the schools who are in this program. You do need to enroll in at least 6 credit hours and remain continuously enrolled. We pay this at community colleges, and there are a few eligible private colleges that this award can be paid at. The SAI or student aid index must be below 20,000. The award for this one, it pays up to tuition and any fees that all of the student body is required to pay minus any federal and state non-repayable aid. So it'll subtract off any grants or scholarships that you're being awarded from federal funds or state funds. I have a little graphic on the next page to kind of explain that a little bit better. The only application you have to do for this one is the FAFSA. So if you have filed the FAFSA, you have already done what you need to do, and you can receive this for 5 full-time semesters. This is the graphic about how your award is calculated. So for community colleges, it's just simply the tuition and qualified fees. So whatever that total is that for you as a student, and then subtract off the federal and state non-repayable aid, and then that equals your last dollar scholarship award. The difference with the private colleges is that beginning amount of tuition and fees is an average of the community colleges' tuition and fees minus any scholarships and grants you're getting. Then that gives you your award for last dollar scholarship. Okay, the Iowa Tuition Grant for not-for-profit colleges is eligible for Iowa residents who enroll in an associate or a bachelor's degree program. The student aid index for that one for this current year is 16,000 or below, and the current year award is 8,500 per year, so a decent award there. Applications is just the FAFSA for this one, and that has to be filed for next year by July 1st, 2025. You can receive up to 8 full-time semesters for the not-for-profit Iowa Tuition Grant. There is another Iowa Tuition Grant program for proprietary colleges, and the only college that is currently participating in this program is LaJames International, but it's also a requirement to be an Iowa resident. The student aid index for this one is below 13,000. The maximum award for this year is $800 a year, and the FAFSA, just like the other Iowa Tuition Grant, must be done by July 1st. And you can receive this for 4 full-time semesters. LaJames programs are typically shorter in length, and that's why less semesters of receipt. Okay, the Iowa Vocational Technical Tuition Grant. Again, like all the other programs, you have to be an Iowa resident and enrolled in a career or technical education program at Iowa's community colleges. The student aid index range on this one is 201 to 6,800, and the maximum award is $1,200. The FAFSA is the only application, and it is due by July 1st. This one you can receive for up to 5 full-time semesters. The Iowa National Guard Service Scholarship is obviously just that. It's very specific to members of the Iowa Army or Air National Guard. To be eligible for it, you have to satisfactory complete required guard training and continue to maintain satisfactory academic performance of guard duty. You need to be pursuing a certificate or undergraduate degree at an eligible Iowa college. Once you received your first bachelor's degree, then you're no longer eligible for this program. There is no SAI requirement for this one, so it can be, there's no maximum. The award for is based on the average Regent tuition rate, and this current year that was $9,034 a year. It's not set yet for next year, likely to probably slightly go up a little bit. This program does require both the FAFSA and the Iowa financial aid application. It is different on its due dates in that it has 2 separate deadlines. The July 1st deadline you would need to meet to be eligible for the fall semester, and the December 1st deadline of 2025 for the spring semester. However, if you do meet the July 1 deadline for fall, then that also meets the deadline for spring. So you don't have to do the application twice in an award year. You do have to redo it every year, but if you meet the fall deadline in an award year, then you've met it for the full year. The maximum receipt on this one is also a little bit different in that you can be paid up to 120 credit hours, where the other ones are based on semester. This one is based on how many credit hours you can be paid for. The Iowa Workforce Grant and Incentive Payment is for Iowa residents who enroll in high demand programs. You don't receive this until you've completed at least 60 credit hours in the high demand program. It's meant for kind of payment towards the end of a program. You need to enroll in at least 3 credit hours per semester at a Regent University in Iowa. So this one is just for UNI, Iowa State, and University of Iowa. Your student aid index would need to be below 7,000, and the maximum award is 1,180 this current year. To apply for this, you just need to have the FAFSA done by July 1st, and you can receive it for up to 4 full-time semesters. There is a little difference in this program in that after graduation, if you become employed within 6 months in Iowa in the high need field that your program was in, then you can get an incentive payment on the back end of that. The payment would go straight to you. And once you complete graduation, you would get some correspondence from us to explain more about how that goes. The KIBBE grant, you must be an Iowa resident and enroll in a high demand career and tech ed program at a community college in Iowa. The eligible student aid index is below 6,000, and the maximum award for this one is $3,000 per year. Have to file the FAFSA by July 1st, and you can receive it for 5 full-time semesters. That was all of our programs. So what I want to do now is just do a live demo quickly of the Iowa financial aid application. You can get to that on our website. You just click here and it will load it for us. So I'm going to go through and just enter just fake information just so you can see how it works for beginnings with the next school year. And I'm going to fill it out as though I'm a high school senior. So what you would be coming here to seek would be undergraduate college students seeking scholarships and grants. So that is what you would want to select to apply for our programs. And then just next. And then here is kind of where we start what we call our eligibility wizard. So everything is asking you a question very specifically um, to know what questions we should continue to present to you and try to weed out which applications you would need for the programs that you may be eligible for. So I'm going to say I'm getting a high school diploma and I'm graduating this year. So May 2025 at, so here to search for your high school, oops, I can't spell here. Okay. You can either search by high school name or by city. So I put in Clark. I'm going to do Clark Community High School, but I could have also searched Osceola over here and got the same results. When you click on it, it populates it up there in the high school section. And then date of birth. And then down here, you can put up to 3 colleges that you are thinking about attending. If you put 3 colleges in here and you end up going completely somewhere else, that's fine. Just give us a call. We can update that for you. I'm going to pick 1 community college, 1 private, and 1 Regent, just so I get an across the board thing there. So this question, are you a member of the Iowa National Guard? If you say yes, you're going to get presented the National Guard application. If you say no, then the system will know not to give that to you. This foster care question is the same situation. If you say yes, it's going to present you with that education and training voucher application. If you say no, then you will not be presented that. And as of today, I am enrolled in high school. Next page is the grid. So we call this our eligibility grid. So down the side here is all of the programs that we administer. And then across the top is each of the colleges that you select on the previous page. And then the X's in the grid are programs that we administer that you may be eligible for. These top 4 from the Future Ready Iowa Grant and up are our programs that have supplemental applications built into this application. And I have X's in some of the boxes, so I will be presented with those applications. The Iowa Tuition Grant and Down are just the FAFSA only. So if I only match to those programs, then this process would have ended here for me. But since I have some of these at the top, then it will present me with those applications. So this is not the same experience for everybody who fills it out. Some people are done here. Some people have more information to enter. Okay, and on this screen is going to be where you have to bear with me here for a minute because I've got to enter this information or it will not let me go forward. So I'm just gonna enter fake information. It's just all of your basic demographic information. Okay, thanks for bearing with me through that. This here is if you want to sign up for receiving text message alerts from us. We're not somebody who texts you all the time or a whole ton there. But if you want to get updates from us or reminders about application deadlines and different things like that, it's a great idea to sign up for this. If you don't want to, then you just simply don't check the box. It will let you go forward from here without that. Okay, this is the application for the education and training voucher. It is super simple. It is just the caseworker's email address. If you don't know your caseworker's email address, you can continue with this application without it being in there. We will just end up contacting you at a later date for that information. And then this is one program that you can be pursuing a master's degree to receive, but we do need to know that. So we asked that question here. We're not because we're a high school senior. And then after you read the authorization and release and look at the terms and conditions, you will just have to mark that you are agreeing to the terms and conditions to be able to submit the application. And you would click this submit application and continue button. Mine is all fake data, so I'm just going to click skip so that it doesn't actually send this information into our system. So it'll take me and just as it would you if you clicked submit, it takes you to the next application that you could be eligible for and that you are presented with. So did you attend an alternative high school or participate in an alternative program while in high school? You say yes, then it's going to ask you for some more information about that program. If you say no, those questions will not be presented to you. Your high school graduation date pulls forward from the date that you entered at the beginning of the application. This one is, did you participate in Upward Bound or Education Talent Search? If you say yes, it's going to ask you your location. If you say no, you won't get that question. Did you participate in an educational opportunity center? Is the same thing. If you say yes, it's going to ask what location. If you say no, it removes that question. And did you delay initial college enrollment due to military obligations? If you say yes, it's going to ask you for the date. No, it will remove that question. And then it wants to know what's the first month and year that you will be attending college. And I would begin in the fall. So I'm just going to say August 2025. The authorization and release and the terms and conditions are the same across all programs. So I know I've already read that. You would submit the application here, and I am just going to skip forward. I think I have one more application here, and it's for the National Guard Service Scholarship. So DOD ID, if you had one, you would know what that was. The branch that you're with, Army or Air, the military grade, and your unit name. And then this is, do you plan to enroll in the fall? Either you either select that you are enrolled or plan to enroll, or you do not plan to enroll for both the fall and the spring. So pretty simple application. That's all there is to that one. Agree to the terms and conditions and you would submit, but I'm going to skip and then you should get your completion page. It says that you've successfully completed. All of mine say not completed because I skipped them, but yours would say complete and you would have a tracking code for your applications presented to you here. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Iowa financial aid application walks you right through it. No financial information required like the FAFSA does. So that makes it pretty simple. And that is what I had for you today. There's our contact information. Like I said, if you'd rather give us a call and talk through a very specific situation that you're having, or send an email to grants@iowacollegeaid.gov, that works as well. Otherwise, if there are any questions, I will be glad to try to answer what I can.
Thanks, Tracy. That was really informative. There were a couple questions that were asked that we were able to answer, but I thought one of them was a really good one to touch base on again. Somebody was inquiring on if they didn't have their caseworker or their caseworker's information. What did you say in that scenario again? Was that required?
No, you can skip it. We will eventually need it, but if you are going through the application and you don't have it, then that's fine. The administrator of that program will be in touch with you so that we can figure out how to move forward. So don't
Okay.
let it stop you from filling out the application.
Okay, perfect. And then there was a question in here about what if a student has the intention to transfer? How would that look if they qualify for an Iowa grant or scholarship?
Yeah, that happens all the time. As long as they transfer to another eligible college, then that is totally fine, no problem. For example, like the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship that you can get for your full 4 years of college. Many students start at a community college and after 2 years transfer to another college. And that there is no issue with that. It'll, as long as you're at an eligible Iowa college, it will be fine.
Okay, perfect. And then is this something that a student would need to complete every year?
Yes, for most situations, yes. If you're ever in any doubt, give us a call. Like some of them, like the National Guard Service Scholarship, you have to do both applications every year. But the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship, if you are selected for it, then in after your first year, the subsequent years, you only have to do the FAFSA. So it can kind of get tricky. And if you're ever, and we do send you, if you're selected for a program, you're going to get an email from us that tells you what you have to do to get it in future years. So that's not necessarily something that I would worry too much about at this very moment. I would just worry about what you need to do to initially get the scholarship because we're going to help walk you through the rest of it.
Okay, perfect. Now there are a couple questions, and I just kind of want to mention this. There were a couple questions in the Q&A about the FAFSA form. We're not going to go ahead and go into FAFSA questions today, but please know you can always go ahead and reach out to an advisor, a student success advisor at ICANN, like myself, with your FAFSA questions. We're always happy to go ahead and answer those. And of course, we do have an 877 number. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat box here before we leave. But this webinar is, of course, talking about the Iowa financial aid application. It looks like we're finishing up with just a couple of the questions that I'm looking at to see if we want to mention
Okay.
any of those live. Yes. How do you know if you qualify? And how does the college know that you qualify for an Iowa grant or scholarship?
Okay. So once you've done the application process, then it will be, we're not selecting recipients at this very moment. So you're not going to get correspondence from us immediately. We obviously have to wait for what the legislature is giving us and all of those things to shake out during the session. But in the spring, you will get notified if you were or were not selected. Notifications go to both. So you will end up knowing if you get selected for one of the programs that you have applied for. As far as the schools, we all work with them internally and we all have the same system for our Iowa grants and scholarships. So all that we do for the schools is populate an eligibility roster for each of the programs. So if you're at Iowa State and you were selected for the All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship, your name is going to show up on Iowa State's eligibility roster, and they're going to know that you are okay to receive that award. Now, if you decide to go somewhere else that you did not put on your application, you change your mind and you're going to a different school, that is okay as long as it's an eligible college for the program. You would just need to call and let us know, and we can get you put on a different roster, if that makes
Perfect.
sense.
It did. And then I think the last question that just kind of popped in is someone asked if they should wait on their FAFSA results before applying for Iowa grants and scholarships or completing the Iowa financial aid application.
I would say no. Generally, we tell people to do them right at the same time. You don't need to wait for FAFSA to be done and complete to fill our application out. So yeah, do not wait. Just go ahead and do that. And it doesn't, you saw, it's pretty short and sweet. So it's not going to take you too long.
Okay. Perfect. I think that answers most of the questions that we had that came into the Q&A. And again, like I said, if it was a FAFSA specific question, please feel free to go ahead and call. I am going to go ahead and type our chat box, our 800 number in the chat box. But again, I do want to go ahead and just say thank you. This has been a very informative Wednesday webinar, and we appreciate all of the time that you have given us, Tracy. Thank you for your time. And I am just going to go ahead and take a little bit of time here to go ahead and type that number in the chat box, but we are finishing up. So if you are attending today and you don't have a last minute question, feel free to go ahead and sign off. And again, go ahead and if you want to, jot that 877 number down. And then if you have any questions for the Bureau of Iowa College Aid, they can assist you. And then I, in the chat box, will go ahead and type our 877 number as well if you want to go ahead and reach out to anyone at ICANN.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a good evening. And it does look like everybody is starting to pop off. So thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.